I mean, there's a lot of people who would understand the court system better than the random fucking selection that we have now that usually lands on idiots who work on emotion, which is why jury cases tend to be a fucking toss-up, even if you have good evidence, because all you have to do is... they do. A lot of times they absolutely do. That's a known thing. Do you know why the feds have a 98% conviction rate and other lawyers don't? Do you know why? Do you know specifically what part of their job they're good at that makes that possible?
The entire part of it.
No, there's one. No, there's one. There's one very specific part, and it's the building of a case with irrefutable evidence. The feds do not bring a case to trial until they have enough evidence on said case to bury you beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's why their conviction rate is so high, because they eliminate the factor of emotion by bringing enough evidence to make it irrefutable. That's how they conduct their investigation. That's how they conduct their investigations.
What extra evidence could have been gathered in the O.J. Simpson trial?
I don't know. I didn't work on that case. So I don't know. I don't know what they missed. You're asking me to prove a negative now. I can't.
They didn't miss anything.
You don't know that.
Right after it happened.
You don't know that. You don't know that. You weren't there. That's my point.
Right after it happened.
By definition, we couldn't know if they missed something because it would have been missed. You're literally asking to prove a negative. We don't know for sure if they missed anything because they would have missed it.
But if that's the case, then we have to overhaul the entire court system.
Yeah.
And also, we go from being a self-governing society to being one of a draconian one.
No, you don't have to eliminate the self-governing part to refine the system we have to make it better. A lot of it is outdated and does need refinement. You don't have to redo the whole thing from the ground up, but you can change some things to make it better. Oh, this one's got O.J. Simpson in it. Well, we'll join and talk to O.J. Simpson.
Yo.
What's good, fellas?
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. I thought, damn, I'm not tripping. The other two, I'm not sure if they're here or not. One of them said something, but they haven't been talking, so.
Well, I mean, I'm down to game with the ghost of O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, the real killer could still be out there somewhere. That's the crazy part.
He could. He could
still be out there, man.
Wait, you don't think O.J. did it?
No.
I mean, he did write a book about how he would do it, if he did it.
I mean, the lead detective on the case was caught to be there's a bunch of recording of this guy. It's good high quality recording, even for the 90s. Him just saying inherently just vile racist shit about black people. And there's several, there's several reports on the guy where he pretty much planted evidence. Well, not I had to think about what I was going to say for a second. I was starting. I was doing camos.
What have I walked into?
Yeah, no, he's been caught planting evidence in multiple cases. So I don't really know, man. He definitely could be guilty. I think that was some dude and his girlfriend. I feel like I've seen him before on here.
I mean, did he get caught planting evidence in OJ's case specifically?
No, but I mean, it's kind of one of those things where the whole point of being a police officer is integrity. And if you're in if I'm a jury and they're already saying that, hey, you've been caught doing this before, I don't know if I'm going to convict if certain stuff in the evidence that's presented seems stupid. And there were a bunch of things that were that kind of makes sense, but then it doesn't a little bit. There's enough doubt sewed in where I wouldn't unequivocally say it was him, without a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt is the thing.
Well, I mean, as a juror, you're supposed to only pay attention to the evidence of that particular case. They
presented that during cross-examination that
the
dude was
but him being something in the past, if he didn't do it this time, shouldn't matter. You're only supposed to look at this time.
I mean, the only way that certain statutes get presented in court and agreed on is based on just precedents. So if the precedent of your detective work and just police work.
That's not precedent. That's character stuff. That's not precedent. Precedent something.
No, but I mean, but there's been a precedent set that this lead detective is not only racist, but also has multiple instances in which he is planting evidence.
Right, but you'd have to show
mentioned more or less.
Right, but it's there for character stuff. It doesn't have to be mentioned because it's not relative to this case. But
if I'm the defense, I'm going to mention that, and I'm going to sow that doubt regardless.
Right. It's an effort to sow doubt, which obviously failed because OJ got convicted. But I mean,
no, he didn't get convicted. What do you mean? He was found not guilty. He's found he got sued in civil court, but he didn't lose in regular court, like in the actual legal court. No.
So what did he go to jail for?
Yeah, he went to jail for stealing his own fucking trophies. Because we went broke after the case. And court cases cost a fucking lot, so if you're fighting a federal trial, you're just never probably going to win because the federal government has so much money that you really can't compete. So, if they say, hey, we'll go to court and they get top lawyers, this thing, so they have enough money to win. Generally speaking, if that's a federal case, but it was a state case. He won.
Yeah,
he was found not guilty.
Well, he was.
Weapon that you said deadly, bitch. I ain't that why you on my belly. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes I was fresh as fuck growing up. Put me in that pelly.
Everybody just mute this guy.
Trucking if you let me. I don't judge us by the cover. We can't talk.
Can you stop, bro?
Every time.
Just mute him. I just muted him. Jesus Christ, that's annoying. Everybody. Yeah. No, just mute him. Yeah, if everybody mutes him, then he'll just sing to himself till he burns himself out like a toddler and then leave.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, no, O.J. Simpson didn't go to jail for the murder of Nicole Brown Ritchie, and Ron Goldman. He wasn't found. Well,
I mean, he was acquitted, but the point I was making is it's not.
I mean, acquitted would mean that not guilty, you didn't do it more or less.
But the point I was making was none of that stuff should matter because it's not against the law to be racist. I know it sucks, but it's not against the law.
I mean, it's not against the law, but if you're a police officer, it's almost like you wouldn't make it through. But you would have to prove in that particular case that racism played a factor, that he used it to do an arrest. The same thing with the planting evidence thing. If he has a history of it in the past, if someone's a rapist, right? If someone rapes somebody one time,
it does make you look bad, but you would have to prove that in this particular case.
I mean, but if a judge is racist, would he be able to be a judge?
Well, it's different.
There's inherent bias.
Well, it's different for a judge,
regardless of the situation.
Yeah. But
he's a lead detective.
Yeah,
and he's been caught planting evidence already.
Judges and cops have different standards because they have different roles.
So no. They all fall under the same umbrella.
No. They absolutely do not. The standards for a judge are way higher than for a cop because a judge has the final. I was in the
military, and it's one way that we describe it. Public officials, like in the military,
all public officials are not. Well, the military is also different. We're talking about. Police and judges.
Of that, you work for the government.
Judges have a power.
No.
Judges have a power. Can I finish a sentence, dude? Can I finish a sentence?
Yeah, but you're arguing in bad faith.
I'm not arguing in bad faith. Judges have a power. Judges have a power that cops do not. They have the ability to judge you. Cops don't. That's why they're held to a different standard. They just are. It's a different standard to be a judge than it is to be a cop. That's just fact.
Okay, regardless of that, you work for the United States government. And I was in the Army. They don't do racism. You won't pass any sort of
You're right. The military does functionally different. You're right. The military does function different from criminal, civilian court.
Do you know any place in the world where you can get a job and say, hey, I'm a racist in the interview?
I know quite a few. Yes.
I mean, I don't think that works because most jobs have a zero tolerance policy, and that's just liability central to have known racists that you've already confirmed to be racist and have admitted that they're racist. If there's something that happens at the job, you're very
the point I was making was that the cop wasn't hired by saying he was racist. He was already a cop, and then they found out he was racist. You won't.
Yes, but this is over several years, where there are many instances in which he's been caught planting evidence only on black people.
Okay, but did he get
And then
caught
even
planting?
in the case
Did
itself,
he get caught planting evidence or doing something racist against O.J. Simpson specifically? Because that's what you should be looking at. Because that's the case in
I
question.
mean, not really though.
Okay,
Because
that was my point.
I mean, like a dirty cop is a dirty cop, regardless of it. I mean, like you're arguing for a dirty cop to be racist, but none of that's taken into consideration when given.
I'm not arguing for the cop to be racist or anything. I'm just stating a few facts here. One, it is not against the law to be racist. It's not. There is no law that says you can or can't be racist. Well, that's not a thing.
I can. Here, I got you. We can.
There is no law that says it is against the law or it is unlawful to be racist. There is no law against that.
You guys are the law forbids discrimination when it comes to any aspect of employment, including hiring, firing, pay, job assignments, promotions, lab. You can't be racist in the government. It says it on their website.
You can't be racist in your consideration for an employee. But if you find out an employee themselves are racist, that's not against the law. That's also not grounds for firing unless they did something racist on the job. If you just like decided that, I found out he was racist because I heard him make a joke at a bar. Well, he was off the clock. He doesn't do it at work. No cop is going to arrest you for making a racist joke. Like that's not against the law.
Wait. In itself, though, don't you think that a public official who's given the onus of in the task and the responsibility of policing everyone, regardless of color or race, shouldn't be racist?
I agree that they all. I agree that they all shouldn't.
You have an innate power in your position in order to actually abuse that power very easily.
I'm trying to answer you. I get the question. You don't have to explain it. I agree with you that they shouldn't be. But if you're going to make the claim, like once we step into court and you're going to go, well, he's racist and that's why this happened. Okay, now you have to show that. You have to show how it applies to this case. And they didn't do that. None of this racist stuff, none of this planting of evidence stuff that they showed he did in the past, none of it applied to this case. There was no evidence of him planting evidence on OJ. Yes, there was no evidence of him planting evidence on OJ. There was stuff that he did in the past can't be held against him for stuff he didn't do here in this case that we're trialing right now.
Dude, that's how any sort of court works.
No, it doesn't. That's how a trial
works. A trial is used to present evidence back and forth.
Stuff he did in cases unrelated to this one aren't evidence that he did something in this one. That's my point.
Okay. So if a person was charged with raping kids and he did it 5 times already, if they said that, hey, he raped a 6th kid, would you not believe it? If told so,
I would believe it would. You have given me suspicion. You have given me reason to believe that he would. You still have to prove that he did. I can't just go, well, he did it 5 times before.
Under suspicion, though.
Yeah, it's suspicion, but suspicion doesn't mean guilt. You still have to prove the thing.
I mean,
I can't go to court and go, well, he raped 5 other times. They said he did it a 6th. We don't need to look into it. He's got a history of it. He definitely did. No, you still have to prove he did it that 6th time. You have to prove it every single time. You can't just say because he has a history of it, therefore guilty.
Okay. All right. If you put this person, if you put a police officer, a detective on the stand, and you ask him, have you been caught? And these are real questions. These are
in
actual
the past?
Questions.
Yeah, you can ask about his character in the past.
Wait. But wait. If in the case they're asking you questions, and the questions they're asking you are questions like, let's see, where is it at? So I'm gonna get to the actual questions. Like that makes sense.
Okay.
And this person also would choke suspects, break their arms and legs if necessary. He's in pounded faces of suspects, not even confirmed actual convicted people. These are suspects into mush. And that he was afraid he would kill somebody if returned to street parole. Like this is when he's a cop. Okay. This is when he's a cop.
Right. But was he returned?
So
to
I mean,
street
like,
parole?
we're just stating the morality of this person.
Right. That's all
in a
character.
position of extreme power.
Right. That's character stuff. Was he returned to patrol after that statement?
No, obviously not. Like that'd be gross and just.
I mean,
negligence.
saying they were afraid that he would doesn't tell me if they did or not. That's why I asked. Because that happens. That does happen. There's times where they're like, we were afraid that he would do this, but they send him back out anyway. I care more about what he did after all of that stuff. Okay, did he learn from his mistakes? Did any of that stuff? Did any of that character stuff apply to his character in the treatment of this case? That's what I want to know. And if you're telling me that he had all that character stuff in the past, but there was no evidence of it in this case, it sounds like none of that character stuff applied to his character in this case. That maybe he's handled cases wrong in the past, but this one he handled properly. Maybe due to how high profile it was, maybe due to how he knew people were watching him. There's a lot of factors that would make someone do things the way they're supposed to do them, because it happens it happens at jobs all the time. You'll fuck up jobs in the past, but when the boss is standing behind your shoulder, you'll do it the right way. So maybe he was better supervised on this one, so he behaved better.
Employee. That's what you call a bad employee.
I agree he's a bad cop, but maybe did he do his job badly in this particular instance? That's the question at hand.
But when under oath, he declined to answer all questions invoking his Fifth Amendment right. And these questions included whether he planted or manufactured evidence.
That's fine. He has the right
to. He wouldn't even answer if he planted or manufactured evidence in the case. Not saying he didn't do it.
He does have a Fifth Amendment right to do that.
Yes, but like there's a precedent. Well, no, wait.
Which that in itself could cast doubt, but now you have to show some evidence.
Not cast doubt. There is a precedence that a detective under oath would never not say no.
That's not
never in history has this
But he
happened.
Didn't say no. He said he's invoking his Fifth Amendment right. That's different.
I said never not say no. So that means invoking
there is no precedent saying that a detective waives his Fifth Amendment right. There is no precedent that says he can't use his Fifth Amendment right. That does not exist. There is no precedent that makes them waive that right. That does not exist. He has the right to use the Fifth Amendment, which he did. Now, once someone uses the Fifth Amendment, you could argue that, that makes you look suspicious, and that's fine, but now you have to prove that the thing we asked him is the thing that happened. It doesn't prove he was lying. It doesn't implicate him. That's the purpose of the Fifth Amendment. But it will show that this is why he chose to do that. Did they show that?
Just rephrase that in a shorter way.
Okay, so if you invoke the Fifth Amendment, and let's say he says, did you plant evidence? And he goes, I'm using my Fifth Amendment. And then they showed later that he did plant evidence. Well, he couldn't be held accountable for that or lying under oath, because he didn't lie under oath. That's why he chose the Fifth Amendment. He didn't want to implicate himself. So now that they've proven that he planted evidence, he can't be implicated for it. That's the purpose of the Fifth Amendment.
I mean,
so
yes,
the question is, after they asked him that and he used the Fifth Amendment, did they then prove that he planted evidence?
The fact that he won't answer yes or no should be enough of an answer.
No, it's a suspicion. It's not proof in and of itself. You still have to prove it.
Suspicion. But like that's how court works. You're using words in order to.
Criminal court works on proof. Suspicion isn't proof. Yes.
It's not based on proof.
Yes,
if there's not enough evidence, then you kind of can have a hung jury and get it and you're not, or you can be found not guilty if they don't have enough evidence.
But he's not on trial for planting evidence. That wasn't the case. So that's not what you're using that to paint a bigger picture. And if you're asking the question and he doesn't answer it, you can go, see, he did it. That's not how that works. You would still have to show that. You've casted doubt, but you haven't proved it.
That's kind of why when a cop ever doesn't say no,
I didn't say that you were wrong.
There's
on
no
it
burden
casting.
of proof necessary.
No, there is still a burden
of
no. There is still a burden of proof. I agree with you that it's suspicious and it casts doubt, but just because he didn't answer the question doesn't prove he did it. That's not how that works. That's not the point of the Fifth Amendment.
Okay, so if someone asked you,
that would invalidate the whole point of the Fifth Amendment. If someone could use it and it instantly implicates them, that would invalidate the entire point of the amendment.
So if someone was on trial for raping a woman and they asked him, "Sir, have you ever raped a woman before?" and he says, "I plead the Fifth," would that not make you think this motherfucker probably raped a woman?
Right. Probably raped a woman is suspicious, but it's not proof he raped this woman.
But when it's given to a jury, the jury decides.
I agree. The jury decides, but I'm just stating what is, and that is it's suspicious. It's not evidence. It doesn't prove he raped this woman. It proves he might have. It proves he had reason to. It definitely makes you suspicious of his character. That's an odd thing to do, but he was charged with perjury. He was charged with perjury for using the Fifth Amendment. How?
No. Because you know what perjury means, right?
Right, that's lying under oath. How was he charged of perjury for using the Fifth Amendment? That's the whole point of the Fifth Amendment
point. It wasn't that part of the no. I'm saying with all that said, he was charged with perjury.
For what? How did he perjure?
For his testimony at the trial.
What did he say
on the stand?
Right. What was the lie? That's the question.
But do you not think that it doesn't matter? It's like it doesn't matter what you said and that was a lie. You got charged with perjury.
That part still matters though. Like, what was the perjury charge? What did he lie about? Of course that matters.
Does it really?
Yes, it should. It absolutely should. Look. Truth be told, most people on a jury case, most jurors suck at being jurors.
No. But this is the thing. He's the lead detective. He found the glove.
Okay. I still want to know what he lied about. What was the lie?
It doesn't matter what the lie was.
It does matter. I want to know what the lie was. These are the questions a juror should be asking because they paint that bigger picture. There is a man's freedom.
That's not how that
they
works.
should be asking this to themselves in their head. That's what I'm saying. This is the thought process a juror should have because that is a man's life and freedom on the line. You can't go on feels. You should be thinking about this. Truth is, most jurors suck at being jurors because they go on feels.
If there's not a picture, if there's not a video of someone shooting a person, if there's not a video of someone shooting a person and only evidence, then they could feel like he probably did kill him. They don't.
No,
they didn't
if there's
see
evidence, the evidence could still prove the thing without you seeing it. There are many ways to prove something. I just want to know what he lied. I just want to know what he lied about because that tells me a lot. Yeah, that's information. If I were a juror on that trial, that's information I would want to know.
Him lying about not saying the word last 10 years. Does that not seem like a pretty bad thing that you would have a detective who was a police officer in charge of the entire public saying out loud on tape?
It's more character stuff.
It's
not related to
character stuff,
case.
But their character is inherent in their job. If your character shows that you call black people...
I agree. Character stuff can paint a bigger picture of you, but character stuff in and of itself isn't evidence. That was my point.
He called black people, and he also tortured suspects, conned internal affairs detectives, and would choke suspects and break their arms and legs.
I agree. That's all bad character stuff that he did in the past, but double jeopardy laws exist for a reason. We can't punish him twice for the same crime. So you've painted a picture using his past crimes to paint his character. Now you have to apply it to this case. Did he do any of those things in this case? Did he call O.J. Simpson the N-word? Did he torture O.J. Simpson? Can you prove any of these things apply to this case?
I mean, how would he torture O.J. Simpson? That doesn't make sense. He's a detective.
I mean, you're saying he did it in the past. How did he do it? How did he do it? You said he did it in the past.
Torture O.J. Simpson.
I mean, you're saying he did it in the past, so why bring it up if it doesn't apply to this case? Like, you're even saying yourself right now, how would he even do that? So if it's so preposterous that he would torture O.J. Simpson, then why bring up him torturing stuff in the past? Like, that makes no sense.
But that's also, if we're taking that point, then that's like saying, well, the glove didn't fit OJ, so it couldn't have been his glove.
That's pretty strong evidence that it might not have been his glove. Yeah.
Then if
that was the whole point in showing that.
He didn't do it, right? I mean, but if that's the case, then he didn't do it, right?
That alone wouldn't prove that he didn't do it, but it does it stood a pretty good thing in his favor.
No, it's not. He didn't do it because the glove didn't fit his hand. If Mark Fuhrman's not a racist, who would be probably,
I mean, there's a lot of reasons why a glove would be there that wouldn't fit his hand. These are pretty expensive gloves. They were made well to fit perfectly. They're not like the cheap gloves. They're not off the rack gloves. So O.J. Simpson's the only person on earth who can afford expensive gloves?
No, the gloves in question didn't fit his hand. So that I mean, yeah, it could. It just, you could say, or maybe he bought the wrong size. What, taking this medicine? No.
Maybe he bought the wrong size gloves. Didn't think to put them on until he got there and realized they didn't fit. See, do you see why that in and of itself is an evidence?
And he'd worn the gloves. He'd worn them many times. So if what you're saying is true, is that if Mark Fuhrman can't be racist, because is he racist in this case?
I never said any of that.
Gloves don't fit OJ.
I never said he couldn't be. I said you have to show how it applies to this case.
I mean, just so we're clear, that same logic, though, OJ didn't do it because, the glove didn't fit his hand.
Like I said, that's a good thing in his favor, but it alone doesn't win the case. I
mean, it did, though. It literally did.
No, not that by itself. You weren't sitting in the room with the jury. I'm sure the jury didn't go back into the room to deliberate and say, "Glove don't fit, bitch. It's done. It's done." Yeah, it's a meme. That's funny, but I'm sure that the jury didn't go back to deliberate, and their whole conversation is, "Glove didn't fit. This is clear cut. So that's lunch then, right?" Like, that's not how that works.
Attorneys of all time, Johnny Cochran is up there. Like, high on the list.
I know the jokes, and I'm not saying it's not strong evidence in his favor.
Not a joke, but that's his actual thing. Like,
people make jokes about it. It did become a meme. Don't pretend like that didn't happen. All right. Second of all, it's not that didn't win the case all by itself. They looked at the case as a whole. That's a pretty big factor, but it's not the lone factor. Let's not act like, well, he showed gloves don't fit, so he instantly won. Like, that's not how it worked, man. Come on. I'm old enough to have remember watching that trial on television as it happened.
Herman's words on the tapes resulted in his being widely condemned, including by the prosecution. His own prosecution condemned him. The people that are trying the case to try to convict O.J. Simpson, that are paid for by the government, legal, like, these are public, these are attorneys, these are defense attorneys. They're prosecutors. Like, they work for the city.
This guy's no idea how the system works.
And they condemned him for what he did on the tapes. Then his use of racial epithets and accusations that he planted evidence became a focal point of the trial. That means that, like, the glove,
character stuff can be a focal point of the trial.
It not fitting his case was the biggest part of the trial.
I didn't say it wasn't a big part. I said it wasn't the lone factor.
It was that. That's kind of like how it worked.
It was not the lone factor. The whole case did not revolve around whether or not a damn glove fit. That is ridiculous.
I mean, it was the only thing that pretty much had blood on it from the court case itself. Like, the timelines don't really, like, they're kind of blurry. So the glove having their blood on it, Nicole Brown,
I would say the biggest factor that led to him being acquitted was that the prosecution failed to present substantial evidence. So they didn't do a good investigation. They didn't bring forth all of that evidence that they said that they had, and the evidence itself was questionable. The glove played a part in that, but it was part of a bigger picture. It wasn't just, well, we got all this evidence, but glove didn't fit, it's over. That's not how it worked.
It's just that word.
Okay, like, they presented multiple tapes of him saying the word, right? And he lied about saying that on.
I don't care about that.
He literally said in witnesses on
unless there's tapes of him. Unless there's tapes of him calling OJ the N-word, I don't care about that.
I mean, so regardless of if he expressed animus against interracial couples and said, if I had my way, all would be gathered together and burned. That doesn't seem like, and he said,
I am agreeing with I'm agreeing.
We work with you. You can't take one of these.
I'm agreeing with. Can I finish?
This is him.
I agree with you.
I haven't finished reading yet.
I get your point. I agree with you that he's racist, but does it apply to this case?
Yes. This man said you can take one of those, drag them into the alley, and beat the shit out of them and kick them. You can see them twitch. It really relieves your tension.
Cool. Did he say that about OJ? Did he say any of this racist stuff to or about OJ specifically?
Obviously not.
Okay, then that was my question. So, obviously, even if he is, which it sounds like he is pretty racist, but if he's that racist,
and he's also been known for planting a lot of evidence.
Yeah, you keep giving me character stuff. Did they prove he planted evidence on OJ?
That's how a trial works.
So the thing you've shown me here is that in this high profile case, he conducted himself properly because he knew he was being watched. I'm not saying he's not racist and that he hasn't planted evidence in the past, but this time with everyone watching him, he didn't. Because you didn't prove any of that.
It just seems like you really want for him to not have been.
No, I just want for things to be fair. I don't want to
that is fair.
No, I don't want to punish people for past crimes if they don't relate to the current one. I want to look at this crime in a bubble by itself because that's how you're supposed to do it.
If you're punishing the person who is what was that?
You're supposed to look at the case presented before you, not the ones that have already been tried in the past. We're looking at this case, and I want to see the stuff that applies to this case.
Then why would the judge allow them to act? Why would the judge allow them to talk about it then? I don't think you're smarter than a judge. So you can't say that he's uninformed or he did his job poorly because you're not an attorney.
I'm not. It's absolutely admissible to bring forth character stuff, but character stuff in and of itself isn't proof. That's my point. Just because you can prove that he is racist or he has done stuff in the past doesn't mean he did it this time.
If the glove didn't fit, what other proof could there be that he did the crime?
I'm not even saying that he did the crime. I'm just telling you that that in and of itself is proof of nothing other than he's racist, which again, I'll remind you, not against the law to be racist.
He said that if they don't have anything on OJ to show that he did the murder, he couldn't have done it.
I'm not arguing whether or not OJ was guilty or not. I didn't see enough evidence myself personally. I will agree with you. The prosecution built a poor case, but the glove wasn't the only thing that poor
case. The case that they're given is based on all the evidence that's done by detectives. All a prosecution does is try the case. They don't build bad cases. They're taking the evidence that's presented to them.
You build a case around the evidence.
But if the evidence is poor or there's a lot of doubt sown into the
So they built a poor case. Now, what that means is that means two things. One, they built a bad argument around the evidence that they had. And two, they probably should have waited before pressing charges and taking that case to trial to see if they could find more evidence and build a stronger case.
How long do you think he waited to actually go on trial? You think it was like a month or something?
No, I don't think it was like a month. What I'm saying is if this was the best that they had, there was no rule saying they had to bring it right then. They could have waited longer and still did more investigation.
That was the strongest piece of evidence that they had. There was no more investigation to be done.
Thus far, you don't know that. You weren't investigating it. Who's to say that you don't know that? Who's to say that if they didn't wait before taking him to court and kept investigating that they might have found something else if they dug a little deeper? We don't know that. You don't know that. I don't know that. So you can't pretend like you do.
That's not when there's the first 48 hours are the best time.
I'll agree. Those are the most important.
A murder done.
I'll agree. Those are the most important. But that's not there. Yes, the first 48 are the most important, but there are plenty of murders that have gotten convictions that took longer than 48. The first 48 matter, a lot, but they're not the end-all be-all. If they gathered all of their evidence and built a case, and the prosecution then looked at it and said, "This is all we got. Is there anything else that we can look into? Are you sure you guys didn't miss nothing?" Like, they could have investigated further. Happens all the time.
I mean, what else could they have investigated?
I don't know. I wasn't on the case. You don't know either. The point is, we'll never know because they didn't investigate further. They could have. Maybe they would have found nothing. Maybe they would have found something. Point is, we don't know. They didn't do it further. I'm just saying that if that's your case and it all hinges on that one thing, then you've built a.
You're saying they could have investigated further. Are you talking about the prosecution or the detectives?
Yes, the prosecution and the detectives, both. But a
prosecutor's job, prosecutors have no idea on how to actually try. Like they only know how to try a case. They don't acquire evidence at all. They have legal degrees.
But they can look at the evidence and tell you how strong your case might be. They communicate with the police all the time. Yes.
I mean, yes, that's true, but also in that same vein, they're
only
doing their job. By the time they get told that they're going to be doing a case,
they are doing their job.
It's out of their hands on what the evidence is.
No, they are frequently brought stuff before it's brought to trial. Cops consult with prosecutors all the time. Yes.
Both sides choose
my
what
cousin,
the evidence
hold on.
is going to be.
You're talking about once it goes to court. I'm talking about before it gets there. There are plenty of times where officers, again, my cousin's a cop. There are plenty of times where cops take evidence.
A cop doesn't have a fucking law degree.
I'm getting to that, man. Let me finish. I'll sit there and listen to you. Damn. There are plenty of times where cops and detectives will take their evidence to prosecutors to ask them if they even have a case worth trying yet. They're consulting them as a consultant. Like, hey, give us your advice. Do we take this to court or should we keep looking? They're just asking them for advice.
But you think a cop is the one asking if they have enough information to try a case?
Maybe not a specific cop. Maybe not a specific cop, but the police department as a whole, yes. When they have especially a high-profile case, they'll go to a prosecutor before ever pressing charges or taking it to court. Before going that route, say, "Do we have a strong case here? What does this look like?" Yes, they consult them. They use them as consultants. That happens. Yes.
They use let's see. Well, actually, it's even better.
It is wild to think that cops and prosecutors don't consult with each other when they're both on the same team trying to convict a criminal or a suspected criminal. Of course they do. Absolutely.
Okay, so a court case is presented to the prosecution when the police prepare a report on a criminal complaint. The police prepare an arrest report, and if the accused is arrested, or a case report if the accused is not arrested, a prosecutor then reviews the case and decides whether to file criminal charges. Like
they consult with them. They consult with them. Do we file criminal charges here? Do we have a case? That is what they're asking. Do we have a case here? Do we file criminal charges or not? And there are plenty of times where prosecutors say, "You don't have a very strong case. I don't think you should press charges now." And then they don't. And then they go and investigate further, build a stronger case, and come back. That happens. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, but do you not? OJ turned himself in shortly after the murder. So what else could they have investigated?
Again, I don't know. I wasn't working on. I don't know. I wasn't working on the case, and neither do you. The point is, we'll never know because they didn't investigate.
You have no idea on what
I'm saying maybe. Maybe they could have. The point is, we don't know.
With people on it, a couple light years away from us.
You're arguing as if I think OJ is guilty, and I don't. I'm just arguing the process of the court.
You said earlier, courts don't work on, feelings. They work on fact. Fact isn't maybe. Maybe is an admission. It's an admonishment of doubt because it's not sure. It's maybe.
I said maybe they would have found something. They didn't, which is why he was acquitted.
No, you said maybe Mark Furman could be racist. Maybe he couldn't. But we don't know because they didn't show he was racist in this case.
Whether or not he's racist wasn't what was on trial. That wasn't the question at hand here. That's just character stuff.
Yeah, so if we're using that as a baseline of how we're going to decide how to do shit in court, if it's maybe, then maybe.
You are using. No, I'm not using that as a baseline for how the whole fucking court case works. You retarded. Look, character stuff is just there to cast doubt on a person's character. That's it. That's all it does. And it did that. But now you have to prove that that stuff applies to this case. You've raised the suspicion. You've thrown up the red flag. You've raised the alarm. Now let's see how it applies to this case. And it didn't look like it did. That was my point. There was no evidence of him being. There was no evidence of him being racist specifically to OJ. There was no evidence of him placing or planting evidence specifically for OJ. So it didn't look like it applied specifically to OJ.
That was the main piece of evidence that they had presented, and that's what.
And that was my point. Character stuff. Yes, and that's why I said they work on feelings, because character stuff isn't evidence. The jury treated it as such because they were
fact, not feeling. You literally
jurors work on feelings, and I said that's the problem. A lot of jurors suck at being jurors. I said that. Jurors work on feelings.
You know, both
a lot of jurors work on feelings.
And defense get to both. They both get to like go through jurors and
and they will. And a lot of times they pick. Uninformed. Yes, a lot of times they look for jurors that are uninformed so they can play off of those feelings. Yes, that's what they do. Yes, you got it. You nailed it.
Then what would be the basis of court in itself? If the idea of a trial by a jury of your peers,
the idea,
where does that align then? That's kind of like the inherent part about America is that
if I'm being honest,
self-governed.
If I'm being honest, the entire jury system is flawed by today's standards, because when they did juries back in the fucking 1700s, 1800s, they didn't have all of the things that we use as evidence now that people don't understand.
Yeah, guess what? When you were a juror in the 1700s, you probably had a bit more wealth and the just cognizant idea of what court was like.
I don't know. I didn't live in the 1700s. Yes, things were simpler then. That was entirely my point. Jurors now, our system has become vastly more complicated than it was then.
Okay, so then who should be a juror? Who should be a juror? If that's the case, who should be a juror?
12 other judges.
What if the judges are appointed by a racist person who's known to appoint racist judges?
You go through the same system you do with jurors, where they're interviewed and selected by both sides, so that doesn't happen. The point is
done on a state and county level. It's not
no.
On a
I'm saying
level.
no. I'm saying if you're doing a new jury, that your 12 jurors you're selecting should be off-duty judges. You should be selecting from a pool of judges and then interviewing them to be your jurors instead of regular people who don't understand how the system works. They may have understood it in the 1700s.
So what if there's only... Okay, all right. So under that same logic, right? Judges are appointed based on population voting to appoint judges. What if and this is a thing, through gerrymandering, which happens all the time, or appropriation of zones, like in a lot of places, the more predominantly white areas get a bigger share. What if, and just in general, a predominantly white area that's known to be racist?
It doesn't have to be just judges. It doesn't have to. Look, I was just giving you an off the top of my head answer. It could be judges, it could be lawyers. The point is, people who understand the legal system should be the ones considered to be.
Lawyers don't work for the fucking government, dude.
It's not about working. We're talking about appointing jurors. No juror works for the government.
I mean, but for appointing a juror, don't you think there's some sort of like, and this is a thing, I don't know if you know this or not.
Do you know how we appoint jurors now? No juror. Yes, and no one who gets
jury, paper in the mail.
And no one who gets jury duty, who gets that piece of paper in the mail, works for the government either. The point is, like, we should be sending that piece of paper to people who understand the system. It should be sent to lawyers. It should be sent to judges.
If it's sent to lawyers, don't you think there's a conflict of interest for lawyers to just not convict? Because, hey, if you don't convict this case, guys, I'll not convict your next one.
Obviously, you use lawyers who don't operate in that district. So then it's not a conflict of interest.
Where are you going to find these?
Retired lawyers. So they're not actively
so are we going to pay them out of taxpayer dollars?
Yes, the same way you would a jury. I'm just saying they're still citizens. They can still be jurors. I'm just saying we should be selecting them as jurors instead of regular schlubs who don't understand the system and their only exposure to it is an episode of Law and fucking Order.
That's an incredible inherent, that's perfect grounds for conflict of interest.
How is it a conflict? How is it a conflict of interest if you have a jury of 12 retired lawyers who are not actively practicing? Where's the conflict of interest? Where's the conflict of interest?
Most lawyers, Johnny Cochran was a prosecutor for the city of Los Angeles. He was a prosecutor.
Where is the conflict of interest if you have 12 lawyers who are all retired and no longer actively practicing? They have no practice to speak of, but they understand the system. Where then lies the conflict of interest?
But you're assuming that all these judges are going to say yes, and that a judge is no one in law would recommend that you have judges.
None of that
who
answered
are
my
defense
question.
attorneys.
None of that answered my question.
That's like saying, why would you have a person who's known to do steroids?
All right, cool. I'm going to ask it again since you didn't seem to understand it. If you have 12 jurors who are retired, let's just say that randomly, that's how the cards fell in our current system, that the 12 people selected from the cards that got sent out happened to be... Wait a minute.
Around?
Let's just say for the sake of a hypothetical that is what happened. That luck of the draw, the 1 in a million chance, 12 of them happen to be retired lawyers. Where then would the conflict of interest be?
The conflict of interest would be that they're lawyers.
They were lawyers. They're now retired. Where then lies the conflict of interest?
The conflict of interest goes away, yes. But regardless of
that's all I need to know.
That idea doesn't work. That's like saying, hey,
why does that not work?
Everywhere all the time.
Why does that not work?
Will there not be rapists? Probably not.
No, that doesn't make any. That has what? I'm sorry.
You're saying that the conflict of interest would go away,
right?
If we only had,
I was trying to paint.
That's not realistic.
It absolutely could. It absolutely could happen. Are you telling me that there aren't 12 retired? Are you telling me that there aren't 12 retired judges right now that live in the same city that doesn't happen?
Okay, so
A, it's a hypothetical, but B, it's a hypothetical that could happen. If you're telling me that there aren't 12 retired lawyers right now living in the city of Seattle? It's a big fucking city.
Yeah,
you're telling me that there aren't 12?
There's only so many times. There's a lot of cases that go through in an average day. You are aware of this, right? Like there's a lot of court cases that go on every day.
I am giving you. We have strayed so far from the point that you're missing here. I was giving you a hypothetical that showed that you could do a jury of people who understood the system and not have a conflict of interest. That it is possible and it can happen. That was my point. And that would be a way fairer trial than doing a trial with 12 idiots whose only exposure to the courts system as a whole is an episode of Law and fucking Order, or maybe some Judge Judy. That would be a way fairer system.
There's enough. You saying there's enough retired lawyers in Los Angeles right now that could try thousands of cases that they go through.
There is enough people who understand the system or involved in it in some way that you could use. That wouldn't be a conflict of interest. Yes, it's not specifically retired lawyers. There's others that can happen. There's retired, there's retired judges. There's retired DAs. There's retired cops. There's hell, a fucking paralegal would understand it better than a normal person. Just a paralegal. I mean, there's a lot of people who would understand the court system better than the random fucking selection that we have now that usually lands on idiots who work on emotion, which is why jury cases tend to be a fucking toss-up, even if you have good evidence, because all you have to do is... They do. A lot of times they absolutely do. That's a known thing. Do you know why? Do you know? Whoa! Stop right there! Stop right there! Do you know why the feds have a 98% conviction rate and other lawyers don't? Do you know why? Do you know specifically what part of their job they're good at that makes that possible?
The entire part of it.
No, there's one. No, there's one. There's one very specific part, and it's the building of a case with irrefutable evidence. The feds do not bring a case to trial until they have enough evidence on said case to bury you beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's why their conviction rate is so high, because they eliminate the factor of emotion by bringing enough evidence to make it irrefutable. That's how they conduct their investigations. That's how they conduct their investigations. Yes, the shadow of a doubt means slim, which is why they don't have a 100% rate. It's only at 98% because it's not perfect. But their cases are so much stronger than your average everyday lawyer because they gather so much more evidence. They wait to bring a case to trial until they have enough evidence to bury the person they're taking there, because they want to eliminate as much of that shadow as they can.
What more, if any, what extra evidence could have been gathered in the O.J. Simpson trial?
I don't know. I didn't work on that case. So I don't know. I don't know what they missed. You're asking me to prove a negative now. I can't.
They didn't miss anything.
You don't know that.
Right after it happened.
You don't know that. You don't know that. You weren't there. That's my point.
Right after it happened.
By definition, we couldn't know if they missed something because it would have been missed. You're literally asking to prove a negative. We don't know for sure if they missed anything because they would have missed it. It's literally an unknown.
No. I mean, if that's the case, then why would you have just shitty cops who can't do a simple investigation on a pretty wide open murder trial where there's easy evidence to be found?
Yeah, it's possible that they missed stuff. I'm not saying that they found absolutely everything and this was it. It's possible that they missed stuff. What? I don't know. That's literally an unknown. But if you need proof that juries make mistakes based on feelings and bad character shit,
AC Anthony.
The
Central Park 5.
AC Anthony. Yes, it fucking happens. It absolutely happens.
Nah, that do make sense though. I agree with you.
Yes, but if that's the case, then we have to overhaul the entire court system.
Yeah.
And also, we go from being a self-governing society to being one of a draconian one.
No, you don't have to eliminate the self-governing part to refine the system we have to make it better. A lot of it is outdated and does need refinement. You don't have to redo the whole thing from the ground up, but you can change some things to make it better. The only point I was trying to make now is that the system itself is flawed. It is inherently flawed.
I mean, but you don't have an adequate system that could replace it. All the shit you're saying is, well, I can
give you refinements. I'm not saying we need a replacement system. We need refinements to the current ones. And yes, I can give you some. I already gave you some. Better vetting for juries.
They don't fucking work. They don't fucking work.
We don't know if better vetting for juries would work.
Cops walking. There's not that many retired people in law walking
around. I was giving you one example.
I
was giving you one example. Obviously, that they would have to work out an actual vetting system. I was going off the top of my head, dude. God damn. All I'm saying. Can I finish a fucking sentence? God damn it. No, it's not a dumbass example. We need a better way to select jurors than random fucking card pulls. That's all I was saying, because all that gets you is a bunch of morons who've only seen an episode. Can I fucking finish? I gave you one example. Vet them. Vet your jurors better. Vet your jurors better. If we can bring forth character stuff to vet a cop on the stand and say this is his character, why can't we get character stuff for juries to find out if they even have the mental fortitude to be a fucking juror? Why can't we do that?
The prosecution and the defense go through that process.
They go through a very, very bad version of that process that consists of 10 questions. That it could be better was my point. They could do a better job than asking them 10 questions and going, I don't like this guy. Because that's what they do now. Background checks would be a good start. Finding out what they do for employment. There's a lot of things that you could do other than just randomly send out a card. If your name is drawn, then you have to go in. They ask you a few questions, and they go, how do you feel about juror A? I don't know. She seemed a little racist. That. They're going off vibes, too, to a certain extent.
I mean, so you're saying, get rid of the Sixth Amendment.
I didn't say anything about getting rid of any amendments.
I mean, it guarantees the right to a jury of one's peers.
Right. I'm just saying that we need a better way to vet those peers to make sure that they are capable of giving a fair trial. Because sometimes trials aren't fair. Again, Central Park 5 is a prime example of jurors not understanding the evidence that was presented before them, and they went on fields, and it ruined 5 individuals' lives. That's not worth it. That's not worth it to me. Sorry, that is proof that it needs to be refined. It needs to be changed. It is outdated, and it needs to be updated to modern standards. Yes.
I mean, but a jury of your peers means citizens.
They can still be citizens. Just can we get better educated ones? Can we vet them?
I mean, then we should probably invest into the Department of Education if that's the case. But the next president says they want to take away money from the Department of Education. So
sure, I'll agree with that too. But that's going to a different topic. I mean, if we're talking about the court system and how to fix it specifically, that's a start. Will it fix it entirely? No, but it's a start.
So what if they don't find jurors that they approve of? Then what do they do? You're afforded the right to a speedy trial. But you're afforded the right to a speedy trial. So then
speedy isn't defined with a number. As long as they're still going through the process as quick as possible, that counts as speedy. Yeah.
Speedy trial.
Speedy means as quick as they can possibly go through the process to get you in there.
It means reasonable. A reasonable amount of time.
Again, reasonable is also subjective. That's not defined with a number.
But what would be a good way to give a guideline on how it would be, you know?
Obviously, it's reasonable to say, yes, the precedent would be set a standard for the jurors. And obviously, it's reasonable to say we didn't meet any jurors who met the standard needed to be a juror. They did not qualify. So we're going to send out new cards and look again.
If we're using that same concept of precedence, then wouldn't precedence also matter in any other part of the case?
Precedence matters in every case.
In any sense. So if precedence matters, then the precedence of the lead detective planting evidence,
you don't understand what precedence means. Proving that he said the N-word in the past isn't a precedent. That's just you showing his character. Yeah. That's not a precedent.
He has a precedent to do these things, which he's had a very
but that's not a court. But that's not a court precedent. It's a precedent to his character. It's still character stuff. That's not a court precedent that the court has to abide by. No. You're misunderstanding the word precedence.
Do you mean in this context? Act of trying a case court, or do you mean
there is a difference between like a person has a precedent of doing a thing and a legal court precedent. There's a difference. You're misunderstanding the context of precedent as used in response.
I'm saying if we're allowing precedent, not guideline and policy.
I'm saying it should be a guideline and a policy that juries must meet a certain standard before they are accepted, a standard higher than what they currently are. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Them being able to take parents of kids who commit school shootings to court set a precedent.
Okay, so
yeah, that's a fine example. Them making it so that you can take parents of school shooters to court set a new precedent. So now that's possible. That's a court precedent because now we have precedent that's allowed. There's now documentation. That's a court precedent that says nothing to their character or their
70 days from the date the information or the indictment was filed.
What's the statute
that says the defendant? No, this is the Speedy Trial Act.
From
a federal court.
What's the document I'm looking up?
Well, the Sixth Amendment of the United States of the United
States Constitution. I'm asking specifically for the
Trial
one that
Act of 1974. And the consequences of a violation may be if the case is dismissed.
Let's see.
So
88 Statute
if that's the case,
88 Statute 2080 as amended August 7th, 1979. 93 Statute 18 USC number 3161 through 3174 establish time limits for the compliance. Okay, where does it give me? Let's see. Speedy Trial Act. Okay, so this gives you 70 days to file an indictment, not take to court. The 70-day clock is told during the time period when no indictment is outstanding. So once they've brought forth an indictment, then that starts the process. An indictment isn't a court date. So basically, they would indict you, and then they would start. They would indict you, and then they would start the process of looking for a jury.
Great. So now, under that same logic that you had, where you said the jury should have better people that like they should have better jurors.
I was just answering.
Take for instance,
answering that. So they would indict. So the process. So the process would go.
I'm not saying the process you said. I'm saying any way that you want to do it.
They would indict you.
A place like Los.
They would indict you, and then they would start the process of looking for a juror. You would just apply the higher juror standard to that process. Might it take a little longer to find a juror? Sometimes, yes. Maybe not.
Okay,
we don't know. We haven't seen it in practice.
Let's say, for instance, LA County. I mean, how do you think, do you think that it might get... I imagine the higher the population of the area, the faster they would be able to find 12 qualified jurors, simply because there's more people to choose from. I mean, but over a course of maybe 10, a year, 1 year.
I don't know how long it would take. We haven't seen it in practice yet. Obviously, it would have to be put into practice to see how long it would take, and then refined from there.
LA County receives 2.7 million cases each year. If everyone took their cases to trial, then the court cases would be just hung in limbo forever.
If everyone took their court cases to trial now, they'd be hung in limbo forever. Most cases don't go to trial, though.
Yes, but that's because you know that they're going to be able to reasonably do everything in a fashionable amount of time. But first of all, the courts now struggle to do things in a reasonable amount of time. So what if we stop letting random people be jurors? You have to forget that you can't take people who've committed a bunch of crimes because they don't get them. Felons, probably police officers.
You would have to run background checks. Obviously, the system would have to be refined. My point is,
you know how long I have a security clearance. Do you know how long a background check takes? A good one.
It doesn't take that long. Look, my point is,
I have a security clearance. I can tell you, it does.
It doesn't. Look, my point is, I can get one. I can get a criminal background check back within a week. And that's all you would really need for the jury.
Who do you think you're getting the criminal background check from?
Secondly, this is the court themselves. They could probably check their own records.
Okay, so
secondly, all right, but my main point is that something needs to be done, because leaving it alone in its current state is also still broken. That's how we end up with the Central Park 5, etc. That's how people end up with their lives ruined, because they rolled a bad jury, because juries are held to no standard currently other than the 10 little questions based on fills that the prosecution and the defense ask them. They each get to feel them out. I'm saying we need something better than the feels-based system we currently have. That's all I was saying.
Damn, y'all boy, I done came into a classroom. What the fuck?
No, but
you did. You'll learn a lot. Stick around.
Not really though, because you're arguing in bad faith with.
How is it bad faith? Please explain. No, stop. You've accused me of that several times. I need you to explain to me how it's bad faith.
No basis. An analogy that couldn't even exist isn't a real good analogy.
Let's back up and let's start from scratch then. What does bad faith mean to you?
Bad faith means the idea that what you're arguing doesn't work because it has no actual possibility.
So you're implying that I know it doesn't work and I'm arguing for it anyway. That would be bad faith. I think it will work. Therefore, good faith. I think this will work, and I'm arguing to try it.
You're arguing for an idea that just inherently don't work. It ain't that many fucking people.
Have we tried it yet? Whoa, stop. Have we tried it yet? Has this been tried? Has this been tried yet?
As a cop, has anyone tried to breathe in space?
Yes, people have died in space due to exposure to space. That has happened. Now,
What the fuck are you talking about? Nobody's died in space.
Yes, astronauts have died in space, dude. Now, tell me, has this been tried yet? Has the system I'm proposing been tried yet? The answer is no, because no one's tried it. It hasn't been implemented. So since it hasn't been tried, how can you? Since it hasn't been tried, how can
pressurized parachute?
Can you? Since it hasn't been tried, how can you say for certain it wouldn't work?
Since nobody's died in actual space from not having oxygen.
Yes, people have died in actual space.
No, they have not.
I think the thing you mean to say is no American astronaut has, but other countries also send astronauts into space. And yes,
and what do you think happened? Like their ship blew up, and then they were just in a spacesuit floating around, and then like took their helmet off.
They were in their spacesuit outside the International Space Station working on it, and because their spacesuits weren't as good as ours, they failed, and they were exposed to space and died. That's how it happened.
15 astronauts to this date have died.
No, died in general.
Died in space. Yes, China sends people to space. Russia sends people to space. Other countries do. And sometimes they're not as thorough as our NASA is. So the idea that a spacesuit failed on an astronaut is not just plausible, it's reasonable. And it has happened, yes.
There's a million ways you can die in space. Explosions are not.
Well, no, he's making an argument specifically that we don't know.
He's
bringing a bad hypothetical to try to disprove me. Because I said, has this system been tried yet? Does that prove that?
3 people have died in space.
Then how do you know it wouldn't work? He's like, well, no one's died in space, so how do we know taking your helmet off in space wouldn't kill you?
Total 3 people have died.
I'm like, yeah. So yes, it has happened. We do. The point is, we do know that would happen. You don't know that my system wouldn't work because it hasn't been tried yet. That's the point I was making.
These people seem like they may be
trying to bring it back to where we were. So we're not talking about astronauts for the next 35 minutes.
But the concept of what you're saying is that
it's plausible.
If we haven't tried, if it hasn't been tried yet, then it could happen.
Yeah, that's why you try it. Yes, that's why you try things. If it's plausible, then you need to find out if it would work or not. And the only way to find that out is to put it into practice.
Who's the discerning factor for plausible? Who's the discerning factor for plausible?
Obviously, all of the same people who are the discerning factor for what works now. You're just proposing to them a new system to try because the one we have is flawed and it needs to be updated. What that looks like, I don't know yet. We would have to try it. It would probably be a little bit of a trial and error process as we try a new thing and we refine it over time. The same way we got the system we have now.
Question, bro. Do you think there's enough people in order to stop? We're going to stop for juries in cases of court. We're going to stop letting random people No, wait. I'm not talking to you. I'm asking him a question. Yeah,
I'm the one answering.
I just want y'all both to know, I genuinely came in here and out of nowhere, and y'all both piqued my interest with what y'all are saying.
His argument is low key kind of like, I'm just only arguing because the shit just sounds ridiculous.
Okay,
you know O.J. Simpson court case, right? Where they say he killed.
Okay, stop.
The nigga, right? You know that court case, right?
Yeah.
Okay, to answer your question, obviously with this new system, you would only implement. Oh my God! Obviously, you didn't let me answer the question that you asked me first. Obviously, with the new, let me finish. God damn it! Obviously, I am not a fucking CD player. You ain't putting me on pause, motherfucker. Look. Obviously, with the new, fine, do it. Obviously, with the new system, just let me finish this one thing, and you can talk as much as you want. God damn, Jesus Christ! I'm finishing this one thing. It's one sentence. Let me fucking finish it. Obviously, with the new system, all you would have to do is you would implement it in sections, not the whole country at once. That's how you would test it. You'd have a test zone for it. You're acting like it's all or nothing, and it's not. You would do a test zone. That's how they do things now.
Regardless of that.
I'm not disagreeing with you, actually, but all I'm going to say is, so I can get more context out of it, brother, I'm gonna hear what he has to say first, and then I'm gonna ask you your opinion. Y'all both have piqued my interest, and I'm non-biased to either one.
Here. The court case with O.J. Simpson. The lead detective in the court case got caught planting evidence, beating up on suspect, like random people on the street that he think might have did something, or just being a bad cop and beating up people, breaking arms. He's been on tape saying for like a lot of times in the last 10 years. If a motherfucker got to get a tape recording you saying
didn't
something,
do any of that
then you probably might be fucking up, especially in the 90s, right? Late 80s, early 90s, right? He is on tape saying,
no, I will tell my side.
I'm not done yet. He's on tape saying the only good is a dead. This is the lead detective of this court case, and he found the glove that has that's the biggest piece of evidence that they could find. Now,
for the O.J. Simpson case.
Exactly. Now you could say they could find more evidence. That's not how it works. You can't find more evidence. You only have the evidence that's available in the place right there.
You don't know that
you can't go around.
You're assuming they found every piece of evidence. The only evidence
available is the
evidence. We don't know if they did or didn't.
Right. He said we have no niggers where I grew up. That's where, and then he also said that's where niggers live. He also said to a black person testified right in court that he said the lead detective told him, a black person, I told you we would get you right. So
okay, none of that applies to OJ.
He said,
though.
yeah, we worked with and gangs. You can take one of these, drag them into the alley, and beat the shit out of them and kick them.
I'm not arguing that the guy wasn't racist.
Attention, right? He's been on,
but that's not what was on trial
record saying all of these things, and he's planted evidence many a time.
But not on OJ.
They took him. They put him on the stand, right? This is the lead detective. He's a
who act on feels. He is the thing I'm talking about. Yes, that's why I'm making the argument. He is the thing I'm talking about.
Should that person be a cop at all?
He's basically saying that every case should be won as soon as you prove the cop is racist. That's all you got to do. Hey, I proved he's racist, therefore he did it.
That involves a person of any said race that they don't like. Would that be put into immediate question?
All I was trying to say is that under his system, all you would have to do is prove cop equals bad, and you win every case. And that's not the way it should work.
Evidence in multiple cases. And mind you, like this is the aftermath. He went to what do you call it? Like they put him on the trial, like put him on like the stand and shit. And
that's maybe grounds for
they caught him as a witness
for perjury. He perjured himself in court. Like he had perjury charges for
like you have to do something to show that being applied to this case now, and that's the part they didn't do.
Other shit, right? So that puts everything.
That's the part they didn't do. That makes sense. You built a case for his character. Now apply that character to this case, and they couldn't do that.
And that's the thing.
So basically, this specific cop
they can't prove that he planted
right. So no, yeah. And then the defense asked Furman whether he ever.
I say one word, and he tells me to shut up.
Police reports or planted or manufactured evidence in the Simpson case. Earlier, when he responded no to that question, but under his lawyer's advice, he invoked his Fifth Amendment, which means he said, like, it's neither confirming or denying it. So
yeah, you can't hold someone accountable for using their Fifth Amendment. That literally invalidates the purpose of the Fifth Amendment.
I plead the Fifth.
What's his point?
Yes, after saying
his point in that this cop was out to get O.J. Simpson, and it's obvious he was out to get.
That person says, like, do you think that kind of like should make him not like?
Yeah, he's saying that
this is. I mean, as like a prosecutor, like the
we were applying it. We were applying it to future cases, and he's basically saying if we can prove the cop is a piece of shit, then that should win the case.
But OJ, this is the lead detective
because
it gives you grounds for
because that's what won the case for OJ. He thinks what won the case for OJ was no, the glove didn't fit. I'm like, no, what won the case was all the stuff around it. That's the point I was trying to make.
Specific person
is all the stuff that had nothing to do with the case.
He found the glove
himself. Did such a good job.
My point, yeah. So no, I mean that would
playing with feelings. Playing with feelings, yes.
He thinks bro said that case was one on that.
Johnny Cochran's thing wasn't finding gloves that don't fit. Johnny Cochran's thing was playing on emotions,
and he did that job well. You are the proof.
And as much,
oh my God,
I will say this: so far, as much as I definitely agree with what you're saying, before I make my final call, I'm gonna listen to what Death Witch got to say too, just so I can really get both of y'all side. Now, which you're making a very good point.
He's arguing for the exact opposite, pretty much. But
No, not exactly. He's misunderstanding what I'm saying.
Okay, so hopefully we can all come to a consensus.
What about cops being racist? Like, no, but like, just go ahead and fix. Like, I want you to hear him on why cops can be racist. Please tell him why you think that a cop can be racist.
That?
So, first question to you, Deswitch: do you think that it's okay for a cop to be racist?
Obviously, stop. Obviously, I don't think it's okay for cops to be racist. The point I was making to him was everything that they showed for that cop was character stuff. The next step after character stuff is to apply that character stuff to the case being tried. And then I asked him, did he plant any evidence on OJ? The answer was no. Did he call OJ the N-word and say that he'd be better off? Now, wait. I didn't interrupt you. I didn't interrupt you.
Hold on. Yeah, he right. He didn't interrupt.
You did once. It's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot to mute once while I was talking to myself. But anyway, and then I asked him, did he call OJ the N-word? Did he try to break OJ's arm? All of those things he did in the past, did any of them apply specifically to OJ? And the answer was no.
Okay.
And then I made the point that I know it sucks, and I agree, racist cops shouldn't be cops, but it is not unlawful to be racist.
It is.
You can legally be racist. Those people shouldn't be cops. I'll agree with you. But the cop wasn't on trial here. OJ was.
And if OJ had been
And that's the point I was making. The entire point in bringing up all of the cops' past stuff wasn't to, like, point any evidence into whether or not OJ did anything. It wasn't even to point any evidence into whether or not the cop did anything, because they didn't even prove the cop did anything. The only purpose in bringing up all of that character stuff was to play off of the emotions of the jury. That was for the jury.
Johnny Cochran was a god.
Johnny Cochran was great at playing off the emotions of the jury, because lawyers, really good lawyers nowadays, understand that the majority of people on a jury trial do not understand the process of our courtroom and what they, half the time, what they're even looking at or what they should be looking at.
Johnny Cochran.
So they play off of their emotions intentionally, and this leads to mistrials. And it's a flawed system. My whole argument was that needs to be refined. We need better jurors, because when it works and they're right, like in the OJ case, great, justice was served. But when they're wrong, like in the Central Park 5 case, 5 individuals' lives were ruined. Obviously, the system needs refinement.
And Johnny Cochran did such a good job, though.
That's which I hear you out. I don't know who the other person is.
Sorry, that's how these work.
But
the other person is the wife, and I actually know what I'm talking about.
Honestly, bro, I'm not gonna cap to y'all. From what I'm hearing, it sounds like y'all motherfuckers is really just having a fucking misunderstanding. And
that's all I was saying.
People are taking things. It seems like we're taking them a little bit too personal or too direct. So basically, both of y'all. Hold on, hear me out. Hear me out though. Y'all both are right.
A lot of talking for someone who don't give a shit.
That's the crazy part. Y'all both are right. Like. Death Witch.
Oh no, I don't think it's right to say that a cop could be racist. That like is that.
It is right to say that any American can be racist.
Hold
Cops
on,
just
y'all
shouldn't be
both
hired
arguing with each other.
out.
Let me say this.
I didn't, and I didn't say a cop should be racist.
Death Witch, hold on. OJ, he's not saying that the cop. It's okay for the cop to be racist. He's disagreeing.
You have to call the guy OJ because his name's fucking OJ.
That's
That's how this started, because he picked OJ Simpson as his name.
Is it illegal to be racist? Is what he's saying. And to be honest,
when you go to apply to be a police officer, they're going to ask you, they're going to ask questions that would probably be around the sense of, do you have any ill feelings towards any other groups or shit like that?
I agree with you.
So if that's the case,
not always.
you're lying but that means you're lying when you got the job.
And I don't think
a lot of times they won't ask you any racial questions.
Unfortunately, that's gonna happen. But is it illegal to be racist? Unfortunately, not. They haven't made that law yet. Should it be a law? It should be a fucking law.
And I will say that the cop interview process also needs to be refined, because a lot of times they don't ask those questions. That's how the racist ones get in.
Like, when you go for any government,
not in every precinct. Nope.
I know specifically because I almost was a cop. I went through all the tests.
Sheriffs also go through almost nothing. They don't even have to finish the training first. They are given a year after being hired to go do the training.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times that they're just not asked the question. Should they?
Not
Probably.
Anymore.
Not anymore.
No,
It's been a while since.
Yeah, not anymore.
But you don't think that there is any like onus of like there's any at all? Never like you don't think there's never going to be the question asked of. Do you have any ill feelings towards anybody of any?
I didn't say never, but a lot of times they don't. A lot of times that question isn't asked. Should it?
I'm gonna say it's plain and simple.
But a lot of times
I'm
it's
from Memphis,
not.
Tennessee, and Mississippi. These motherfuckers
Thanks,
are still
Tim.
racist as hell. So point blank, period. When I had to take my test. No, and you're right, and that's my point. What I'm saying is you got your physical test. Where you have to make sure that you can pick up your partner if they in case of emergency and they're shot. You have to take fucking dummy
that physically move their body
that weighs the same amount of weight as a dead body, and you have
we get that. But I'm saying, don't you think that
you
like
have your psych eval where they basically ask you those things?
I feel like if the psych eval was that
the psych eval isn't about race though.
It's not about race, and it's not even that great at what it does.
Yeah, the psych eval is to make sure that you're not a danger to society if I give you a gun.
Be racist because
that you're not going to randomly shoot people for fun. That's what that means.
It's they shouldn't be racist. There's a difference.
No. It's but that's the expectation is that they won't be racist because you're asking these questions as they get the job.
Of
right?
course, but you as a human.
Okay, so that would mean that a cop can't. That would mean that a cop is able to be racist, but under the way that it's supposed to go, a cop wouldn't be racist. That's the
my whole point. My whole point is that there was.
Let me holler at him. But you're acting Simpson, and as a brother to a brother, you know what I'm saying? I want to be on your side just because you're a brother.
That's racist. That's racist in and of itself.
Yes. That a cop can or can't be racist.
He says racism is bad, and then says he wants to be racist.
No, a cop can be racist. What I'm saying is that
I want to trust you just because you're black. It's just as racist.
That's racist.
When they're hired, is that they're not, in general, is that they're not, that's the expectation, is that not correct to say, due to the fact that they're going to ask you these things. So
no, I'll mention I'm streaming, I'll let them figure it out.
Or expect a civil servant in charge of policing other people, the point is that they don't go into this shit saying, well, we might have got a couple racist cops, but we're okay. No, like police departments fire cops for saying racist shit all the time. If a cop comes out and openly says, I hate others, then yeah, they're gonna get fucking fired from their job because
not
they're
necessarily anymore.
Yeah, not necessarily.
No.
But
no. Like that's not how it works. Like you can't have someone in charge of power as a civil servant who doesn't like a specific group. Based on
there is no law that says that. There is no law that says that.
No.
That's the point I was making, is that our system is flawed. There is no law saying that someone in the KKK couldn't also be the chief of police.
In this case, it doesn't.
It would look bad, but it's not illegal.
Or on this case, he wasn't exactly racist. No, it's to say that a cop should never be racist.
That's what I'm saying. All right, so with that
being said,
you gotta let me say what I'm saying.
I agree with you on that. This is the second part of it. If a cop should never be racist,
God damn, dude. Calm down. Yeah, thank you. One thing at a time. Let's stop there.
It's one thing left. If a cop shouldn't be racist, then I know I'm almost done. If a cop shouldn't be racist, then if they're placed in a position where they are presenting evidence that they found and they've been known to plant evidence, should that be considered? Probably
absolutely not. And
that should be considered suspicion. Yes, that was the point I was making. Yes, it's suspicious.
Exactly, and you literally y'all are agreeing with each other, but y'all
not suspicious.
Y'all having a pissing contest. Like,
no,
showing what he did in the past is not evidence for the case at trial. You still have to show it. You showed suspicion.
It does have to be current, unfortunately.
No, he's not the one on trial.
Yeah,
that was my point. Yeah.
So,
but his evidence should be taken into immediate question if he's found to be a racist, right?
Because he's found to be a racist. Yes.
So you should. So you're saying you should dismiss his evidence. That's what you're saying.
whatever evidence that man has brought should not be considered. But what Deathwitch is trying to say, no, you gotta listen, bro. What Deathwitch is trying to say is that. Listen, what Deathwitch is trying to say is, at the end of the day, when it comes down to a trial overall, whether it's OJ's trial or any trial at all, what's gonna happen is you're gonna be tried for what's going on in that time and in that moment.
Yes.
Okay. So whether his past experience shows that this motherfucker has always been racist, has he been racist during this time? Now I'm completely with you, Simpson, when you say no. This motherfucker has shown like that should be backing evidence to not take in this motherfucker evidence. Period. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. You get what I'm saying?
That's not how it works.
It's not against the law, but they don't typically do it.
Back at me saying, I don't think OJ could have exactly done it because a lot of evidence in the case was found by this racist cop.
Police force looks like?
Did he say that OJ could have done it or could not have done it?
Well, I mean,
I didn't say either. I didn't say either way. The entire argument we were having was about the process of the court system and how it should or shouldn't work.
Crazy is y'all are literally agreeing with each other, but I don't think y'all
I agree. I will tell what I said.
Me for like 20 minutes saying that, if he's not racist in this court case, then he's not racist.
No, most of our argument was about how the system works and whether or not it should be refined, not about the OJ trial.
Half, bro. The first half was you saying.
Yeah, the second half was way longer. But, okay, all right, no.
Mark Furman
I didn't say that his past couldn't be brought up in court. I was arguing why it was brought up, and that his past being brought up is not in and of itself evidence. It's character stuff. There's a reason you bring up character stuff, and that's to play on the emotions of the jury.
You said none of his evidence should be, all that evidence should be dismissed, though, right?
I never said that. I never said that.
But he said that. He said every bit of evidence he touched should be dismissed because he's a fucking racist.
But that does not mean that the other team, because basically when you're going to court, it's two teams. Just like, for example, we in this bitch to play Call of Duty.
It's two teams, but one process.
But the point where you're making, but you agree though that character should affect the case itself.
Hell yeah.
To a degree. Character should only affect the case itself. Character in this case only affected the jury. It didn't affect the case itself. Character. Wait. Character. And I disagree with that. You shouldn't dismiss evidence on character stuff. You have to prove that applied to this case. All I was saying was that character. That's all I wanted to hear. That's all I said from the beginning. All I'm saying.
No, I'm not agreeing with you. I want him to hear that you're saying that he can be racist and plant evidence and beat up on people and say good news.
I didn't say any of that. Don't put words in. I didn't say any of that. I said no. Stop. Let me finish. You're not going to keep interrupting me. I didn't interrupt you for a long time. So let me finish.
And it's not attributed to this case.
If he didn't do any of those actions, if there's no evidence of him doing any of those actions in this specific case, then yes, it's plausible that in this one case he behaved properly, and in which case the character, and in that case the character stuff is just that character stuff meant to sway a jury.
So let me say this to you, Jeffrey.
We're muted again.
Okay, I get exactly where you're coming from when you say that character stuff is character stuff for this specific case to basically gain the jury's favor. Okay, when it comes down to it, now there's a difference between shoulds and what happens, right?
I'm just going over what the legal process is.
Exactly. So should a person's character be taken in consideration, like if it's a repeated habit?
There are some cases.
Yes, I feel like it should.
I would argue only when it's relevant. Now, there are plenty of times when someone's wait a minute.
Just making sure.
God damn it. There are plenty of times where someone's character is brought up and it's not related to the case at all, and they will and yes, the judge will specifically tell the jury to strike that from the record because it's not relevant. Character stuff is not always relevant. It has to be relevant to the case at hand. And if you're telling me that nothing he did And if he's telling me that nothing he did reflected that part of his character, then one could argue that that was irrelevant.
Right, but there are some cases, right? So hear me out, Deathwish. There are some cases where a person's character is brought up because of repeated offenses, for example.
Yes, but it still has to be relevant to the case at hand.
I'm saying, if, for example, like,
okay. Prime example here is, let's say you're caught of shoplifting. Your crime that you're being charged with is stealing from a Walmart, and then a lawyer brings up in court, he's raped 4 girls in the past. Well, you're not being accused of rape. That's irrelevant.
That's irrelevant.
No, although it might be irrelevant. Hold on, Simpson.
Right, we're talking about stealing, not rape. So the rape charge is irrelevant.
Doesn't mean you're not an asshole.
Although it might be irrelevant, there are still judges to this day, point blank period, that still actually make their decision off the extra shit that they receive from this person. For example,
and unfortunately, well, I was talking about juries.
Hold on, let me say what I gotta say. Let me say my piece. Unfortunate as it is, this does happen majority to the black person. So when, for example,
by the way, hold on, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I probably should have disclosed this sooner. I am live streaming all of this right now, by the way. So just putting that out there.
Actually. But when it come down to it, for example, like my cousin has been charged for robbery. You know what I'm saying? When they find, or not, better yet, my brother, he got charged with possession of a firearm illegally. Okay, but when they also pulled the rest of his record and they found out, you know, he was involved in some other bullshit as far as like. Well,
I would need to know what the other bullshit was.
Robbing, whatever the fuck it was.
Did he use a weapon in said robberies?
No, he did not.
Then the lawyer on his side, yes, then the lawyer on his side should have argued that that was irrelevant and should be stricken from the record.
Understood. I get it. But it does not change the fact that the judge himself chooses to take all of those things in as well,
which he shouldn't do,
to help make his final decision.
Which he shouldn't do. Once something is stricken from the record, a judge can be disbarred for using it in his decision.
From the record.
But I was talking about juries because well, I am not arguing that the system isn't flawed. I'm on your side there. But my argument is that I wasn't talking about judges. I was talking about juries. If a judge uses information that was supposed to be stricken in his ruling, then you can appeal and overturn that. But if a jury does it, well, you have no way of knowing. That was my point, is that they appeal to the emotions of jurors more than the evidence when it's a jury trial, because most jurors don't understand the system and they're just going to work off emotion. So I was simply a trial with a jury. So I was simply proposing. Not every trial has a jury. No,
trial is just the judge.
Yeah, a bench trial is just a judge. A jury trial is a jury. There are different kinds of trials.
In the context of the argument, you know what I'm saying. When there's an actual trial with a
there are plenty.
No.
I was responding. Hold on. I was responding to his specific case. There are plenty of times where charges like the one that he just mentioned don't go before a jury, and they are bench trials. Yes. And I was simply pointing out the difference, that there's a punishment for when a judge uses information that he shouldn't to make his ruling, and when a jury does it. When a jury does it, there is no punishment for the jury. That's the problem.
But the main thing that I want to just get across is that you are saying that regardless of if Mark Furman is on tape saying inherently racist shit and has been known to plant evidence a lot of time and told a black person, we're going to get you, that doesn't matter, because in this case in which he found the evidence, and when asked, and he was on the jury, and they asked him, hey, Mark Furman, have you planted any evidence in this case? He initially said no. Then he went and talked to his lawyer and then pleaded the fifth. So he said no at first, and then he pleaded the fifth.
Okay. Because if he says no, it implies that he's planted evidence on other cases. Right. So pleading the fifth means...
They're only talking about this specific case. They literally said, have you planted
they're not.
Evidence?
Well, first of all, She was talking about the implications of that answer on past cases, which is what is being referenced. Yes. Wait. But there's a reason. There's a reason you're not seeing the bigger picture. There's a reason they painted that picture before asking that question to establish a history of him doing it, because his answer to that question may implicate him in those other instances, because those were brought up. That's why he pled the fifth.
The fifth is used so that you cannot get yourself in trouble in other legal battles.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why he
not
answered
the one you're talking
about. No. With the jury absent on September 6th, the defense asked Furman whether he had ever falsified police reports or planted or manufactured evidence in the O.J. Simpson case. Okay, not done. Right. They asked him that. Okay. Where is it at? In the Simpson case. Although he earlier responded no when asked this question, this time on his lawyer's advice, he
pled the
Fifth Amendment right.
And we just explained to you why he did that.
Yes. No. This is only regarding this case.
No, it's not, because it at the time
with the jury.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if the jury's there
for legal reasons, but because the other stuff was already on, because the other stuff was already previously on record, his lawyer advised him to plead the fifth to be safe. That is why. That doesn't matter. The other stuff is that doesn't matter. The other stuff had already been brought into question to like paint his character, and his lawyer's like, hey, in your best interest to plead the fifth. That's why. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I am telling you why the lawyer gave the advice that he gave. He was using those facts. The fact that your previous stuff had already been brought up and that answering this could reopen those even with no jury present. It's probably safer that you plead the fifth. Was it absolutely necessary to plead the fifth? In this particular case, maybe not, but there's no harm in pleading the fifth, so why don't you do that? That's probably how that conversation went.
Problem if asked, have you falsified reports, planted or manufactured evidence in the case that is currently being tried, and you don't say no, wouldn't that, or if you say no but then go to invoke the Fifth Amendment, doesn't that seem kind of like it might be a problem?
So if they ask you to come in and take a lie detector test, but you know lie detectors are pseudoscience. You know lie detectors are... listen to what I'm saying though. Lie detectors are a pseudoscience, and so you say, no, I don't want to come in and take that. That automatically makes you guilty?
First of all, you seem... All right, I'll try to clear this up. I will try to clear this up. You seem to be under the impression that I'm on Mark Furman's side or something. I'm not.
But what you're saying is fucking stupid.
No, it's not.
He's trying to
explain to you why the Fifth Amendment exists. I'm trying to explain to you why it exists and the purpose in which it was used and why his character stuff and why it's well. You seem to be misunderstanding it in your explanation. That's why I'm bringing that up.
Did he do it in this case? He did. Because he said no, but then invoked his Fifth Amendment.
Yes, and I'm telling you why the Fifth Amendment was invoked. I am highlighting the problem and bringing up character stuff that doesn't apply to the case because it can lead to stuff like a Fifth Amendment being used when it shouldn't have.
He is not disagreeing with you at this point.
Yeah, I'm not even disagreeing with you.
No. Wait. How does that not apply to the case if he won't say?
Why does this guy seem to understand it better than you? Like he got what I was saying the first time. Can you explain it to him? Maybe I'm failing here. I'm gonna let you try.
Evidence should be put into court if he has.
What evidence?
Say he hasn't done what means falsifying or planting or manufacturing.
If you can prove that he falsified evidence, then no, it shouldn't be brought into court. But they didn't prove that he falsified anything in the OJ case. That's why the evidence was admitted.
You don't have to prove it if he's on the jury. He can say he said no.
Mark Furman wasn't on the jury.
He's not on the jury.
He was on the stand. He was on the stand.
No, you still have to prove the things he says on stand. Like, unless he admitted to planting evidence, which he didn't, then now, if you're saying that, he pled the fifth because he planted it, you now have to prove that. You can't just say, well, he's got a bad history, so must be true. That's not how that works.
You can't just say shit.
I'm gonna say it like this, bro. If you look at this whole shit as a fucking chess game, that's
there you go.
What
He's got it.
Like
He's got it.
If I ask you,
this guy understands.
I asked you, have you ever raped a woman before, bro? And you ain't got an easy ass no to that question.
If that question is irrelevant to the crime at hand, I don't have to answer it.
Whoa. Hold on. One, you're right. I don't have to answer it. But two, when it comes down to it, and I do have an easy ass no, for example, what am I to do if the other team
simply asking the question is improper, though?
Hold on, Witch. What am I to do when the other team has an argument better than that? At this point, we know we're going to war. We're playing chess. So
yes, but you still have to. But both teams still have to play within the rules of the system. I was just pointing out what those rules are.
But if a cop,
he's basically giving you the rules of the game. You're saying what's morally right. He's saying what actually happened.
There you go. He's got
all that's going on here.
It's not just based on what's morally right.
Like, your arguments are absolutely morally based. Yes.
Yeah.
The purpose,
and that's not the way
three
court
factors
works
determine the ability of character evidence. Purpose to which a character evidence being used. It was used to show that this person probably did something to fuck with the case.
Yeah, but that's not how it works. You don't show probably. You have to show that it's relevant to this court case.
Yeah. And character isn't something that's quantifiable. Character is an argumentative
It's
thing.
absolutely
It's
quantifiable.
perceptive.
If you can show that he had a history of doing something as proof that he did it here and why he did it here, it can point to motive. It can point to a lot of things. But it in and of itself is not evidence. No.
77 Sabbath.
It's used to establish evidence, not be evidence.
Got me going rolled up, just vibing up. That's the word.
Yeah, they talking about some crazy shit in here right now.
Yeah, I'm already knowing.
I don't think it's hard to agree that if a cop, if the lead detective who found the main piece of evidence,
like, what are y'all talking about?
Right, you're making a moral statement.
Do you think it makes sense?
You're making a moral statement. Morally, I agree with you.
Does this really help out in the court case at all?
Oh no, he's not, because
morally, I'm agreeing with you. There's no proof that he illegally planted. There is no proof that he illegally. Thank you, Sam. Okay, there is no proof that he illegally planted any evidence in the OJ case.
He's just giving you the unfortunate reality of it.
Yeah, morally, I agree with you. He shouldn't be a cop. But in this case, he didn't plant evidence.
Take it into consideration.
Court doesn't care about that.
He was a fucking racist who planted evidence in multiple cases.
That again isn't against the law. That again isn't against the law. And what he did in previous cases aren't proof that he did it in this one. You still have to prove he did it in this one. That was the point I was making.
Hold on. I got something that's serious in all of this. Death Wish, I'm going to ask you a simple question.
Okay.
Do you think O.J. Simpson should have went to jail?
No, no, I don't think there was substantial evidence for it. I'm just disagreeing with like how this process went and what he thinks of the cop.
No. Don't explain yourself no further. That was the only question I had for you. Because at the end of the day, what matters right now is basically if you think that OJ was innocent or not, and if you think that he shouldn't have went to jail because, like you said, it wasn't substantial evidence.
But I want that thought process that I came to say that he's innocent, which I agree he is, to be based on evidence, not feels. And the character stuff was brought up for feels. They were trying to sway the jury. Thankfully, it didn't work, but that was the point.
What do you mean it didn't work? That's the main thing.
Oh, I'm sorry, it did work, but it was still sorry. I thought about it backwards. I'm sorry. I just said I misspoke. I thought about it backwards. It did work in that case. God damn. All right, I'm stumbling over my words. All right, so yes, it worked, but I was also pointing out that while we got the right outcome based on feels this time, there's plenty of times where those feels don't work in your favor, and people like the Central Park 5 have their lives ruined based on feels.
How is that based on feelings to say, hey, this motherfucker been playing evidence?
Did you not see the Central Park 5 case? That was all feels. It was all stuff just like this, where they pointed at character, except they did it against the Central Park 5 and not the police. That's my point.
They had a mostly white jury in like
our president actually spent millions
our president spent millions to character assassinate those kids.
He did
it
that.
It was all character shit.
It wasn't representative of the people on trial.
That was entirely that was entirely my point. Is there needs to be a better process for getting more fair juries. Thank you. We agree.
77. What'd you just say? 77.
This shit's so serious. He got his bitch on the mic. It's not that serious though.
Swear to God, but no, the thing is, the shit's stupid, bro. The shit's stupid. If a cop plants evidence in previous cases, nothing after the point in which he find out he's been planting evidence should be like a jury. It's not
he's saying you need to
say that shit shouldn't be taken seriously. It's logic.
You keep
this nigga been planting evidence before.
I'm on the string.
He doesn't know that. He just
why are you
Yeah, we agreed. In the end, we agreed that.
But you're saying they did that for their feelings, for the jury's feelings. That's not for the jury's feelings.
That is a well-known fact. That, yes, a lawyer will bring up character stuff to play on. Yes, that is absolutely how the game is played.
You're right. He is arguing.
Thank you. Chris gets it. That's how the game is played.
Crystal clear evidence. If that's the case, then no case will go to trial because you have all the evidence.
Yeah, I understand your thought process, but that's not reality. In reality, they do play off of the emotions of the jury. That's how the game is played. Any lawyer worth his salt will tell you that.
Yeah,
any good lawyer.
That makes sense. But what you're saying is that they did
if I
that
was
for
on trial
feelings.
for murder,
He is refusing
Is it
to.
everything for feelings then?
I didn't say it was everything. Why is it an all or nothing with you?
Hold on. Simpson, think about it this way, bro. If you was on trial for murder, whether you did the shit or not, and you hired a lawyer, bro, would you want them to play that jury, knowing that jury is the final decision maker for your fate?
Thank you.
No.
Yep.
That makes sense. No. Yeah, I'm gonna answer it. The reason we've been arguing is because this motherfucker's saying that they are doing it.
He thinks I'm racist.
Sway the jury.
Yeah,
that's what it is. He thinks I'm racist.
Did you hear me say that under my breath? You know why that is, right?
The defense is using the fact that this lead detective is racist and has invoked.
He thinks I'm defending racist. He's not understanding my argument
because that is like an admonishment of guilt almost. He's saying that they did.
With that part.
He said he's saying that they did that to sway the jury's feelings. Even it's motherfuckers who have smoking guns, and the jury still don't convict. So everything
based on feelings
is used.
He's just proving my feelings. He's proving my point more.
It's not like they did.
I didn't say character stuff was the only stuff, but character stuff that's brought up like that's irrelevant to the case and allowed to stay in. That is the specific reason
it's irrelevant to the case. If he's been,
hold on, it's very simple. If he didn't do any of the things that they're bringing up in his past in this case, then it is irrelevant to this case. It's very simple.
I mean, but like, if the nigga been caught doing this a bunch of times, you don't think that's relevant to the case?
It's
not if he didn't do it this time. No, it's about this time. And if none of that stuff applies,
he didn't do it, then he didn't do it.
That's how our court system works. You have to show the thing you're presenting. Yes.
That's not how Death Wish works. That's what he's trying to say. That's how the court system, unfortunately, fucking works.
Thank you.
No. That is
you do have to show. Yes.
That's how the Constitution is written.
What?
A lot of shit was written the way that a lot of shit was written.
Wait. What about the Constitution applies to that?
What I mean when I say the Constitution, obviously I'm not saying like Amendment 1. No. But what I'm saying is the way that court works is that two sides are going to present evidence, and it's the jury that's going to decide what they want to agree on. Right,
and I agreed with that. And I also said that the Constitution's not written in stone. It's been amended many times. Yeah. It can be again.
When was the last time? Go ahead and say like 100-something years ago.
Yeah, which means it's been which means supporting my argument. It's outdated and needs to be looked at again.
So you're saying that it needs to be better.
It needs to be brought into the modern age because a lot of stuff from 100 years ago, a lot of the stuff that we have now didn't exist then. So obviously we need to modernize it a bit so that the court system can be more fair. Because right now, it's not. It's broken in a lot of ways, and it needs to be fixed. That's all I was saying. I was highlighting that.
Motherfuckers is agreeing with each other without realizing it, bro.
No, we're not agreeing because
he thinks I'm racist. He doesn't want to agree with me because he thinks I'm racist. I'm not, by the way.
They literally took it into consideration.
I'm not arguing with what happened.
Because that's how it did work.
No, because when it works that same way on the other side, it's racist. That's how you got the Central Park 5. They literally they convicted those kids based on character. They proved that.
Yes.
They assassinated those kids.
You don't think it's because they had a more white jury than black jury?
I'm not saying that didn't play a factor in it, but that also supports my argument that we need better selection for the jury selecting process. You're just supporting all my arguments.
Okay, so what if most of the people who are more aware of law, like in the South, are racist? There's an inherent bias.
Obviously, there's more to the process than just look at do you understand the system. I was just giving you a place to start in the refinement process.
It's a dumbass place to start because you ain't got a.
Why is having jurors who understand the process a bad place to start and finding jurors for the process?
Hey, he left.
I'm sure he did because nothing he says makes sense.
Because he's determined that you're going to.
No. Here's what it is. I will break it down for you. I will break it down for you. He heard a white guy with a southern accent say it's not against the law to be racist, and he immediately North Carolina. He immediately assumed I was racist because of this accent and because I said it's not against the law to be racist.
Yep.
I'm not racist, but I was just stating facts, and he got so worked up over that he couldn't move on from it. We were agreeing the entirety of the time.
I realize that, and unfortunately, it is not illegal.
I'm on his side. It's fucking wild he's still arguing with me.
That shit was kind of dumb. I ain't gonna cap.
He would have figured it out at some point.
Fans, bro, this shit's crazy.
You, being someone who just went to jail, would benefit greatly from learning how the system works so that it doesn't screw you over.
Bro, I'm not worried about that. I'm not in that life no more, bro. I'm trying to play the game, bro.
Sometimes you can be drug into it.
Man, let's play Call of Duty.
All right. Let's play COD.
Yeah, let's play COD, bro. Let me start my shit up.
Y'all go ahead and add me. I'm doing some Warzone. I feel like shooting something now. By the way, I am streaming. Right. If you guys want to check it out, that entire conversation is about to be turned into a YouTube clip. So thank you for the content, OJ Simpson.
Hey,
he would have figured it out if he had.
I'm a rapper.
Watch the stream.
Send me your stuff and I'll tag you. Absolutely.
I got you. Hold on, I'm tweaking. Where's my?
Oh, you don't want this one?
No, I don't like that one.
Then yours is right there.
You heard what you streaming on?
I'm on YouTube, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Rumble, I'm on Kick. Just look up Deathwitch, man. I'm everywhere. I got my wife sitting next to me because she's been arguing with him, which if he'd have bothered to look at the stream, he would see why all of his arguments were retarded, but okay.
Jesus Christ.
Hold on, I'm finna look you up right now, too. You said you're on Twitch. I gotta see it.
Yeah, I got me and my wife up here just arguing with morons on the internet. Jesus Christ. Morons I agree with and we're on the side of. That was wild. It's the first time I've ever had an argument with a guy I agree with. Streams are always interesting. Thank you, I try.
Oh, no.
You know, hey.
Dude, like this happens most of the time when I join a COD lobby in this server. Yeah. Like last time we were arguing about some dude was in there. There's an argument on my stream on my channel right now from this Discord where a dude was defending R. Kelly and wanted to see his P tape.
Yep. Because he needed to see the proof.
Yeah, he needed to see the proof. He just wanted to see R. Kelly pee on the girl with his own eyes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, dude, it got weird.
Deathwitch, Call of Duty Warzone, random Warzone lobbies.
That's it.
Drama.
We're live right now, baby.
Fucking dead.
Wow, I'm a Texan. I have that. I have that problem too. I have the
right
accent.
There? Oh yeah, I see you.
Yeah, that's my wife. Yeah, and now you see why all his arguments were retarded. I have an accent, and all of a sudden my argument is invalid. Yep, thank you. Happens to me all the fucking time. Jesus Christ.